right. There we go. Drew up my traces. My quick release shackle. My hyper bike quick hitch. Alright. Drew up my bridging. And my overgirth. There we are. Make sure this isn't, oh, it's being pulled forward a little bit. Okay, so now I'll hop in. Stand still. Stand still. Oh, handy. Have a water trough there. Handy dandy. I'll buckle up my lines. Stand still. And then tuck them under my leg. Stand still. She just wants to make sure we know she's still here. Okay. And we are working on relaxation with the bit. So you can see he's chewing it. So I'm just going to hold my lines until he has a quiet mouth there. Good boy. All right, walk on. Good boy. And then we'll go out and just drive on my track that I've been mowing and caring for and trying to make awesome for driving. So hopefully you guys will be able to see all of this. And so we work on transitions, and then I ask him to back up. So, good boy. Something that we worked on at our private lessons a couple weekends ago was the bit doesn't mean anything about his mouth. In fact, the bit is connected to his feet. So when he can start understanding that, then we will be better off and he won't worry it so much. And now we'll have to wait till he stops chewing it. Good. Stand still. But I don't want him to walk off when he's feeling anxious, so I'll wait until he can just be standing. All right, walk on. Good boy. I love the hyperbike because I can tell him, good job. And so my barrels, as you can see, they were set up for obstacles, but they blew all around. And he doesn't understand why that happened. Walk on. And isn't thrilled that they are now scattered all over. Samson is going to be very annoying, I can tell. I don't know if the camera captured that, but Samson just leaped straight up in the air. That was funny. Since we are working on relaxation, we try not to do things fast. I mean, we're going to go through our transitions and we'll go up to the trot and we'll do a little canter, but the whole idea is that we are calm and listening to me and not doing things on his own. So that was not me asking for that. He made that choice. The other thing I'm practicing really hard is to not grab at his mouth, but to do things slowly. Oh. So if he does break gait and go off and do his own thing, then I need to be reacting slower and not grabbing, because grabbing is what caused, good boy, is what caused his anxiety with the bit. So we'll see. Oh, good boy. Walk on. So you see, I asked him for a step or two back, and then I waited, and he did not start chomping on the bit. So that was a plus. That's something that we just need to get to where he doesn't need to chomp it all the time, where his anxiety isn't so high that he's doing that. And of course, it's gonna storm. It's chilly today. The wind is a little blowing, not much, it's breezy. And so he's feeling a little bit friskier. And that's fine. We just have to be able to work with that and walk. So we won't do the transitions up until I'm ready for him, because he's feeling more relaxed and calm. And hoe. So obviously when I hoe, I'm going to want him to not pull on the bit or toss his head. Very good. And no chomping. All right, walk on. Zorro, walk on. Sometimes he does this. He's just showing me, I guess, who the boss is. Walk on. Good boy. And walk. Oh, he says, so anxious. Ants in my pants. I would like to encourage that, because that is a little bit more relaxation that he's searching for. So where we're driving right now is the small track, and this is kind of, I use it as a warm-up or a cool down, or, oh, there's a huge rock. Better move that one of these times. But I use it if he's high anxiety and I just need to be able to just focus on that, then we'll just use this little track, because there's less stuff to worry about and it's smaller. So that's what we will practice with. And then I have these barrels set up so we can run the barrels a little bit if we want. I mean, not barrels, sorry. I have these tires set up as a barrel pattern so we can run the barrels using the tires. That's kind of fun. We do it at a walk. We're not looking for high mighty speeds or anything. Oh, the kitties are really good boy. The kitties are causing some trouble today, which is fine. So what I want to see is him walk, being able to just walk, not wanting to break gait. When Samson goes racing by, to just keep walking, not toss his head or get sassy with the bit, and walk. Oh, good boy. And back. Yes. And be less sticky with the back, so that's getting really good. And walk. And he is not chomping anymore, at least right now. He will, I'm sure. As we go up in the transitions and get faster, he'll start pushing on the bit some more, and we'll work on that at the higher speeds. But mostly I've been just working in the walk, and towards the end of the lesson then we do some trotting, transitions, trotting to walk, because I think it's probably hard to find relaxation if I'm always pushing him to go faster. And if he can't seek it and keep it at the walk, I'm not sure how he's ever going to feel confident enough to do it at the trot and the canter. So that's my thinking anyway. I'm sure other people that are more skilled could help him faster through that, but I'm less skilled, so this is how I have to do it. And hold and back. So So there's a little chomping because he forgot that the bit was about his feet. Back. Back. Yes, back. Good. There we go. So he softened a little bit in his face, so I released on that. Because I don't want him to think the bit is about his mouth. See that chomping? So I'll hold until he can be quiet. There we go. Good. I'll tell you that when we were at our lessons that weekend, gosh, I didn't time it, but I'm sure I stood there having to hold him for over 5 minutes one time while he just leaned and chomped and leaned and chomped, pushed on it, put his nose up in the air, rooted the ground, chomped and chewed until finally he was quiet for just a split second so I could release. So it was quite an ordeal the first couple times that we started working on it. Okay, now we're going to go out on the big track. All right, walk on. Samson, that's enough. Samson does like, he's helping me, but he likes to get him riled up. It is fun when we're cantering along together, dog and pony. It's my dog and pony show. It is really fun. And they both enjoy it, but that is not our goal. And walk. And walk. Okay, and walk. Good boy. And walk. Good. And walk. So now we're doing something new. I'm going to have to just keep reminding him that it's about walking and not about rushing and hurrying and walk. And I could let him just trot it out, get it out of his system, but I don't want to start my sessions off with, okay, I know you're anxious and you have a lot of anxiety, so let's go really fast so that you can work it out. And then we do slow, relaxed work, because I think that sets him up for a pattern of, okay, we hitch to the cart and then we go really fast, because I'm anxious and I can't find calmness without moving my feet really fast, and I don't really want that. I don't want him to have that go button to be so hard. It's easy enough to get him to go fast. I don't need it to be something he just does. All right, I didn't ask him to hose, so we're not going to reward that for very long. And so that's my thought process behind not just letting him go trot it out. We'll trot when he can do it without being worried or wanting to run with the dogs or kick out or do any of that stuff. We'll do it when he can be more centered in his mind. And so we might have to walk around out here for half an hour before we can do that. That's fine. We'll do whatever he needs. And I could lock up the dogs so they're not helping me. But I drive with the dogs. So if he can't find relaxation when he's feeling anxious and the dogs are there, that's going to be a problem on our drives. So again, this is how I do it. I'm not saying you should do it this way. I'm not saying your horse would be safe enough to do it this way. It's possible it wouldn't be. In that case, you do it how you need to be safe. Maybe you need to be in an arena. Maybe you need to be in an indoor arena. And walk and hold. I like all the blowing out. That's really nice that he's offering that, so we'll let him stand here for that. Think about that a minute. And back. And back. And back. Good boy. Very nice. Good boy. So we're going to hold on the chomping. Just hold. I'm not pulling. I'm just holding. My hands are pretty soft on the reins, on the driving lines. He's itching, but I'm still going to hold softly because there we go. Good boy. And what I want too is when I give him the release and he has no contact or very little, just a light touch, that he still stands here. He doesn't expect that release to mean go, but that he can just stand here when I give him that. If he's going to lean, I'm just holding my lines. He can lean on him if he wants, or he can be I'm looking for my transition from the hoe to the walk to be nice and easy, and no jolting or jerking the cart forward, but just walk off nice and easy. Of course, driving the hyperbike makes that easier because it's so lightweight. He doesn't feel like he has to jam into the collar to get it going, even out here in the rougher ground. My little dog is over there on the other side of the road barking at those magpies. He thinks birds are an offense to his nature, so he spends a lot of time barking at them, chasing them away from our property. He's so funny. The ravens think he's a hoot, and they just tease him all the time. And something too is if he's feeling super anxious, like back here sometimes he'll get really anxious. And so I'm not really going to ask him to whoa and stand still back here where he feels super anxious, and he might not be able to do that because I don't want to set him up to fail or to feel more frustration for certain. So if he starts to get a little bit amped and he's going to be moving faster, we're either going to do some circling, or we're just going to keep asking for the walk and get around to the other side where I can ask him for a nice relaxed whoa and let him think about it for a minute. So I do think about that too. If he starts to get amped up and really worried about something, I'm certainly at the most not going to make him stand still if he can't do it and walk. Now, that is different for when he's actually afraid of something. If he is worried about something, like we moved one of the logs over there in the little mowed area, and yesterday that was giving him some trouble. He was wondering why that log was upside down and why it was in a different spot, and so we had to stop and just take a look at the log for a few minutes. That's fine. If he needs to stop and think about it and study the situation before he can be confident to walk by, that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to drive him by stuff that's scaring him and try to make him hurry past it, because then I'm just instilling when you're scared you hurry. So, and again, this is Zorro, and this is how it works with Zorro. All horses are different. Some horses actually do need to move their feet before they can feel confident. In that case, if it was Sky, say, I would have to trot circles and circles and circles and figure of eights and circles in order to help her find calmness. And standing still would only create more anxiety for her, even if she's scared. Walk on. So in that case, we're not going to do that. So you see, you'll have to adjust your training principles and the way you do things for each animal, because they're all so different. He's pretty good back here today. The last time I drove him back here, we did circles for half an hour. I was so dizzy, but he's really doing nice. And we'll see if he can back up. Oh yes, beautiful. One more step. There. I don't want to have him back up and not be square, because then he'll feel like he's going to fall. So he's going to chomp a little. I'll just hold. Good boy. And walk. So I don't know if you could hear, but Sky whinnied when and then he stopped and looked over there to see what she was thinking. She's at the back corner of their little dry lot. So this is what we have been spending our driving time doing lately after our lessons. And even before, I just wasn't holding long enough. And when he would get extremely anxious, then I would start to feel extremely anxious for him. Not that I was worried for my safety or anything. I wasn't. I just was worried about him feeling anxious, if that makes sense. I don't want him to feel that way. I don't want him to feel like this is causing him a bunch of stress. I want him to enjoy it like he used to. And so of course I did write a blog about, with Mikey being gone, how much his attitude has changed, and it really has. It's night and day. Before, when Mikey was still here, even if we were out here doing this, he would half the time have his ears pinned back and he swishing his tail, and he was just very unhappy. And if you can see that is not the case right now. He's very forward, ears forward, very happy to be out here. Just having some anxiety, and I think it is mostly all centered around his bit. So we're just really working with that and wanting to make him feel confident with that. He has a very sensitive face, and a lot of pressure on his nose just really upsets him, and so I'm not going to go bitless. So we're just going to help him through all of his of worrying his mouth all the time. And ho, and back. So he started chomping a little. I hope you could see that in the video. So I wanted to just give him a second to search for that quieter mouth. Good boy. So handsome. This video might end up being super long. So I'm not gonna post all of it, but he does that where he lifts his head up like that when he's also feeling a little bit anxious. So we're working on head down cue instead of doing that, pushing his head up in the air. He does that when he's not in harness too. It's kind of an interesting thing. This is all stuff that it's really hard to capture in photos and explain in my blog with just words. Sometimes you have to actually see behaviors in order to... Good boy. And walk. In order to understand kind of what's going on. And even then, sometimes I see him doing behaviors and I have no idea what's going on. I just think, oh no, something new. And I think too, because he's forward a lot, his ears are forward, he's quite a happy dude. My pictures make it look like we never have any issues, which we do, of course. Every person who drives and has a horse is going to run into stuff here and there that they have to work through. Some people have really big ones, some people have smaller ones. These are our issues. To me, because they're our issues, they're quite big, but to others they may seem quite simple. And so there's no really way to say a horse is really good or a horse is really bad. If they're having trouble and struggling, we just need to do what we can to help them through their struggles. So that's all I'm trying to do here. And ho, good, and back. So I'm trying to get him to where when we hoe, he doesn't feel he has to bite that bit, but he can just back up quietly and have a quiet mouth. And back. So he starts to really connect that bit with his feet and not with his mouth. And back. He's looking at Angus. So that's not very... Oh, there we go. I don't know if you could see in the video, but then his face got softer on the lines and he wasn't trying to make himself into a U shape to back up. Good boy. No. So my shafts have that gig end there. That drives me nuts. So he turns his face and he wants to rub on it, number one, which of course that's a training issue, so we're working on it. But it blocks his shoulder, it gets in the way of stuff, it hooks on the end of my traces. I wish they were just a straight shaft. Walk on. Sometimes it can be hard to get him forward enough in the shafts with that curve there. Those things drive me crazy. Nice stretching. And so I have this other little piece here we can go around. I'm going to mow in some other little zigs and zags. And then this is 10 acres that you can see. And I've got 10 more acres to the north that I'm going to mow more track into. And then I'm hoping I will have about 2 miles worth of track when I'm done, that we can go out and just get some good exercising done on it, where we don't run into cars or neighbor dogs and the gravel, that we can be barefoot out here. We don't need to wear the boots, and so we can just sometimes come out here and just get a good workout in without a lot of distractions. Of course, when training, distractions are good, but sometimes you just want to go out and do some stuff and kind of be able to relax more without having to worry, and that's what this track is about for me. So he feels very nice and relaxed, swinging his head, just walking really nice. Even when Samson came by, that is exactly what I would be looking for relaxation from him. So I'm gonna let him trot a little. Zorro, trot. Nice. I like how he transitioned to the trot and he kept Zorro, trot. Trot. Nice, good. And trot. Nice. Trot. And trot. Nice. Doing a little half hop and hold. He wants to canter. He's wanting to break that and back. Good boy. Oh, that was nicer though, less chomping. Zorro, walk. Good. Nice stretching down. Zorro, trot. Good boy. Easy. And hold. And hold. Zorro back. Good boy. It's not time for cantering. It just isn't time for that. Good boy. So we'll wait till he's not pushing and chomping. Good. Zorro, walk. And hold. Nice, good. And walk. Zorro, walk. I'm not gonna trot through up here because it's pretty rough still. my husband brought the skid steer out and I filled all the holes, as you can see, with dirt to make it better, but then I mowed it the other night and made it wider back here in some spots, and some of the dirt settled. So right here is a big hole I need to fill in. Ooh. So I don't want to be banging into that when we're trying to be relaxed. At speeds it's really fun, but it's also very hard for him to find relaxation with that going on. So we'll come around the corner here and then we'll trot in the straightaway again. Which I like to see. His mom is right there. Come on. Come on. Boy. Zorro. Trot. Very nice. There we go. I'm going to trot on a nice loose line. Worrying about that chair. It's strange right there. To be a little bit snappier. It used to be, but then he started all the chomping and then his woe disappeared. So I'm not pulling very hard. I know it looks like it because of what he's doing up there, but I'm not. He is laying on my hands. He lays his whole shoulders and forehead and face right on that bit, and then he pushes on it with his mouth, which makes him gape. And I just am holding my lines. Walk on. So when he can learn to, when I lift the lines, that he does see how he's pushing and hold. When he can learn that he doesn't have to do that he can just stop moving his feet or back up, or slow his feet. Walk on. Then I'll know that he truly understands what the bit is. Right now, he has no idea. He thinks the bit is about his mouth. And hold. And back. And back. Good boy. So that's what our goal is. We've got to get him to understand that bit is about his feet. And walk. Zorro, walk. Walk. Zorro, trot. Good. So what he's wanting to do is when he trots, then he wants to canter. So he starts pushing on the bit, trying to push through it. See? And hold. Hold. And back. Back. And chomp, chomp, chomp. See that mouth? So I've stopped thinking back with my body, and now I'm asking him just to relax his mouth. A lot of it is about intention and how much energy you have in your body when you shut your energy down, when you lift it up for different things, for moving forward, for moving backwards. So he's gonna need to chomp for a minute here. I'm just holding the lines here until he doesn't need to do that. So it's hard to see, but he's just laying on it. Can you see that? He's just laying his face on it. Of course, that's not the answer I'm hoping for, so I can't release until he gives me the correct answer. Even if his mouth was quiet right now, he's still laying on it, so I would need to wait till he softens, brings his head up to a natural position, and quiets his mouth. He's still chewing, but he's not chomping. Can you see the difference in that? There's two things. His tongue gets softer. I can feel that in my hands. And he isn't using his teeth on the bit. So when he's just going to chew it and he's licking his lips and he's chewing, that feels different than when he's chomping it with his teeth. Now he's leaning on it again. There we go. There. Let him just stand here. Now he needs to, that took a long time. So when it takes a long time for them to give to that, then the processing needs to take a long time. So then you need to just wait. I'm not going to ask him to do anything until he can really have some time to think about what just happened. So he can just stand here and take a break. Sometimes he'll actually cock a foot and just go to sleep because he's really, it's a bit like he's overwhelmed, like a baby in a loud place. He had a lot of stuff happening, a lot of anxiety in the moment, and he just got really overwhelmed, and so he just needs to take a nap for a second. That's fine, we'll just wait. He's not going to do that today, but I don't want him to move off when he's still thinking. But he took a big breath. Walk on. He took a big sigh. So I was kind of waiting for a sign from him that he was like, okay, I think I figured that part out for now. It could have been his breathing changing, so he was kind of taking short, fast breaths, and I was waiting for those to get deeper. It could have been a lick and chew. It could have been he would blink more. Maybe sometimes he'll yawn. Sometimes it's just a big sigh. So lots of stuff to think about when we're out here. I wish it was simpler about just hitching him and going, but if it was, I guess everyone would drive horses, right? I know this is an ugly weed and it's not a good weed, but I like it for, I can see where the track is from up by the house with that weed there, and it's kind of nice. And maybe I should plant a tree there, except I can't get water out here, but I do like it for visual reasons. Zorro, trot. Let's see if we can do it nice, just a nice little easy. That's really good. He's being able to do that for a while now. Easy and walk. and he's chomping a little bit, but not like he was, and he's not laying on the bed. Very nice. Good. All right, so we weren't out here very long. I think we did, I'll have to look at the video, 3 or 4 laps. So that's about 2 miles. I think that's good. That's a really nice place to end, because he was able to trot all that he didn't try to canter. He didn't think about cantering. He kept his mouth relaxed, and he came right down nice to a walk. So that's where we're going to end today's driving lesson. So they don't have to be long. It's not always about racking up the miles, although that's the fun part for me, is counting the miles. Walk on. But depending on what my session is about, they can be long if that's what he needs, or they can be very, very short and sweet. Today, I guess, was a bit short and sweet. Oh, this is some of my moldy hay from the winter. Actually, what this is the ranch horses came over to my house and busted into my haystack and took all these bales out. And that's how much hay they wasted. I bet you they weren't out here, because I come out and did my morning chores. They weren't here. And when we came out to go to town, maybe 2 hours later, they were here, and they had already did that much destruction. But there was 8 of them. That made me so angry, because I had shut the gate and my husband had come out. Granted, he was helping me and he did some snow removal, but he did not shut the gate when he came back out of the hay area, and so the ranch horses came in and made a big mess. But this year we're going to have an actual hay barn. Right here where this dirt is going to be a 12 by 20 foot hay barn with a tack room and a feed room on it. I'm super excited. I think we're going to start building next week. It's very exciting. We've been refurbishing this boat. It was my husband's grandparents' boat, and we've been working on that. So, and here we come back to the hitching area. Walk up. Come around. Come around. Good. Walk up. And then I'll ask him for a couple steps back to remember what the bit's about. And we'll wait for no chomping. Much sooner than last time. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, he wants to do it a little more, so we'll wait. Good boy. All right. That is what our sessions are looking like right now.